So when Dennis came to visit, he's a person that has to be entertained. He has a very active life and does a lot of things. He had just come from wing walking in Seattle, Washington, and from this year alone, riding in Bali, Indonesia, and in Turkey, and in Tibet, and then in Brazil, and Bolivia, and Argentina. And so we're trying to come up with things for him to do while he is here in Maryland. And one of the things he had never done before is ride a WaveBlaster, which he associated with a personal watercraft. And I tried to explain to him that WaveBlasters are quite different than personal watercraft, that Yamaha only sold them for a few years and then discontinued them because the average person couldn't ride them. They took too much skill and too much balance. And now we have the typical watercraft today that you could set 3 or 4 huge people on them, and they're more like boats with handlebars than they are. So we took the WaveBlasters out on the Potomac, and Dennis can tell you in his own words what his experience was and how he found them to be quite different and quite challenging than today's normal sit-up style watercraft.
Yeah, hello everyone. I was really surprised for the first minute when you asked me to wear the helmet. I was really surprised. So I asked why do we need a helmet? But after a couple of minutes riding on that stuff, so I found the answer by myself. It was so unpredictable. For me, it was not so easy to stand up, but I have a lot of surfing experience and so on, but it's something different. And when my first attempt, I fell down after a couple of seconds. So I thought, okay, it's a challenge for me. It's something new and unique. Okay, let's try. And our first ride at this small area, it was too shallow to feel the balance. But after that, when we went to that huge river, and it was a lot of fun. But it's so fast. That toy is so fast. So for sure, you have to wear the helmet.
The normal watercraft that they sell nowadays is pretty much like a boat. It turns like a boat. It is buoyant like a boat. Yeah, you can turn them and you can lean them, but the WaveBlasters, a normal watercraft, you have to work to lean them. Their normal position is to sit upright, just like a boat. In order to lean them, you have to you have to use the handlebar to really turn into it. You can just be sitting still in the watercraft and fall over. The normal position of the WaveBlaster is just wherever you slightly lean the body to. So, people often say, wow, you can drag your knee like a motorcycle.
Exactly.
It's like, no, you can drag your elbow. If you drag your knee, you'll be torn off because it'll go so low. You can drag your shoulder and your elbow in it. The WaveBlaster will literally lay completely on its side. It'll also, you can porpoise them, you can spin them, you can get them totally submerged and launch them out of the water. And they're quite small compared to today's watercraft. I mean, they're I think about 6 feet, 7 feet long. They're not huge like big watercraft. It is possible to ride 2 people if the people aren't big. It's extremely difficult, and the first person has to be on, and the motor needs to be running, and it has to be moving a little bit. And then the second person can't be too big, and they have to climb up on the back. It's extremely challenging. Yeah, it's a shame that Yamaha discontinue them, but I can certainly understand for commercial reasons that 99% of the sales would go to the sit-down units that anyone, a 12-year-old or a 90-year-old, could just sit on them and push the button and just go. But why don't you describe some of the feelings you had, and like for instance, when I told you to follow in the jet wash?
Yeah, so I follow your jet ski, and you cannot control the situation. So, and the speed was so fast, and when I fell down, I realized, so it's painful. That's why I have to wear the helmet. So it was a trick like for beginners. When you do something for the first time, you always like laughing, try this, and so on. But it was nice. Do you remember my diving experience?
Yes. Well, yeah, he had a GoPro camera strapped to his chest, and he hit the water so hard, went underwater, became a little spatially disoriented, and almost like in surfing, started swimming down instead of up, not realizing which way. And that's despite the buoyancy of both the helmet and the life preserver. But quickly, I think his body felt the sensation, he relaxed, and then you see the camera aim up. I never saw a view from so deep underwater of the hull of a WaveBlaster before. It was pretty funny. But what most people don't realize, and it's quite different, because Yamaha advertised these as a motorcycle on the water. And while there are some aspects that are similar to a motorcycle, it's still more different than a motorcycle than it is like a motorcycle. First of all, Watercraft don't have brakes, and WaveBlasters, especially because they're so light, if you fall off of them in a straight way, you don't pull them over, they can go an incredibly far distance if you're going top speed. You're going 50 miles an hour, 55 miles an hour, and you fall off the thing in a nice clean straight line. The lanyard pulls off, the engine will stop, but it will still sail in a straight line for quite a far distance, which a motorcycle would rarely do. But the other thing is that the way that they make power and the way that they steer is not like a motorcycle. A motorcycle steers through counter steering, through motion applied to the handlebars and through the contact patches of the tire to the surface. A watercraft steers by the power of the water being blown out the jet and the shape of the hull design. If you're on a motorcycle and you go into a corner too hard, or a dog runs out in front of the road, or a pedestrian, your first impression, your first instinct is to stop, is to brake, if you're not on loose surface, you use the front brake, you stop very quickly and avoid the situation. Not only is there no brakes on a watercraft, but if you let off the gas, you lose all steering control. So your natural instinct when you're going to hit something is to let off the gas, but if you do that, you're almost 100% guaranteed to hit what it is you're trying to avoid. So you have to go completely counter your instinct, and you have to stay on the gas. If you're not on full throttle, you need to actually increase the throttle to full throttle, and you need to use the power of the motor to change direction quickly and try to power out of the situation by either turning rapidly to the left or right to avoid hitting whatever it is you're trying to avoid. And this goes counter to just every natural human influence. When you're about to hit something, the idea of giving more gas, accelerating, is just not a natural response. But if you don't do it and you let off the gas, you can almost be guaranteed that you're going to strike the object you're trying to miss. So it's difficult to teach beginners that, but it's very important because you could have some very nasty mishaps by not learning that technique. So what else was? I know that just getting on was a big challenge. Once you're on, it wasn't so bad, but just getting up and getting the balance is...
Yeah, because you always made the waves, and when it's wavy, it's not so easy to keep the balance when you are trying to stand up. But after like 1 hour, it will become like better and better. But I received a lot of emotions from that toy. I cannot say that it's a toy. It's like a sport tools or something like that.
Yeah, they're unique, that's for sure. But I'm very glad that I never sold them. I kept, because they're pretty unusual now, especially because I have two that are such good condition they're all practically like new. So it's I'm glad that I never
Yeah,
sold
it's
them.
true. We had only one, like a summer day, like very warm day, and I pushed him just to let's go for me, because it's only one chance for me to ride on it, because I have never seen something like that before. It gave me a lot of information.
You've ridden Watercraft lots of times before, but they look sort of similar to the average person. They're like, what's the difference? They look sort of, but they're completely
different story. Yeah, it's very close to the motorcycle when you do some track days and so on. So I really enjoy when at the fast speed you try to lean, you try to corner or make some donuts or something like that. But for sure you need the time to teach yourself how to ride.
I had one of the guys here from AGV years ago when I bought these things, and just because we were stupid, we decided one day to take them out in January, and it was snowing. There was some ice in the water. We took them in the Potomac, and we had helmets and gloves and wetsuits and everything. It was so miserable, so cold, because the water got everywhere, and the water's just above freezing. And it's not like a sit-down unit. A sit-down unit, you could actually put it in the water, and if you were careful, you could ride around all day and never fall off. You cannot ride a WaveBlaster. You're going to fall off, no matter what. Even if you just stop and you're sitting there talking, you can fall off the thing.
It's true.
So anyway, yeah, I don't know. I if it was a new unit, I'd recommend that you guys go out and get one. But they haven't been sold for decades. But if you ever know someone that has one, you have a chance to ride one, and you have some motorcycle experience, it's definitely worth while. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, for sure, you'll receive a lot of emotions.